In the hills of northern Idlib province, soldiers of the Free Syrian Army sit in a fly-blown camp, scanning the landscape for enemy movement. Poorly armed, exhausted, but unbowed, some of these men have spent more than a year on the run from the Syrian regime's sophisticated and ruthless security forces. Government raids may have slackened off in their area since Kofi Annan's peace plan came into effect on April 10th, but the FSA don't expect the ceasefire to last. They've set up a network of bases, observation posts and checkpoints to try and consolidate their position.
حماية نحن جيش الحر حماية ومراقبة لما كتائب الأسد تدخل على بلدنا بالغفلة لأن من عاداتهم الغدر والخيانة. وسوريا للجميع ما بس لبيت الأسد. 40 سنة حاج اضطهاد وعبودية. سوريا للمسيحي وللمسلم وللدرزي وللسني وللعلوي.
The landscape offers little cover and the camps are extremely vulnerable to the government's helicopters.
شفنا الهليكوبتر شلون قصف أمس بقبتان. طيران عم بيقصف ناس حاملة بواريد صيد أو حتى عصي أو سكاكين أو إذا عنده بارودة روسية من منشق أو غيره يعني ربما تجي ويا ريت تستخدمها بشكل صحيح لأن الدبابة ما راح يأثر علي كل هالحكيات ولا الطيران. يعني عم نقاوم بصدورنا نحن ما أكثر. اشتغلت محاسب فترة 8 سنوات وبعدها انتقلت لوظيفة بالاتصالات. دفعت رشوة لتوظفت لحتى أحصل على لقمة عيشي بعد ما درسنا وتعذبنا وأهالينا صرفوا علينا. خدمنا 2.5 سنين بالجيش ابتزونا فيها لحتى ينزلونا على بيوتنا 2 و3 كانوا بعض ضباطهم يتقاضوا مننا أجر النزلة لعند أهالينا. خدمونا عندهم 2.5 سنين.
The FSA took us to one of several secret bases they've recently built in caves in the hills that provide shelter and some protection from the air raids. This cave serves as a communications centre, complete with generator, satellite TV and wireless internet. Some of these men are army defectors, but others are just local people who said they didn't want their children growing up under the Assad family. Northern Idlib is predominantly Sunni, but their commander insisted they had no quarrel with any of Syria's minority groups.
We ask the government, we want our rights in a peaceful way. They start to shoot us. This is the right. They start to shoot us. Now we are ready to save ourselves. We are from Syria. We are fighting for our land, for our freedom. Because we 40 years, we are die every day. And we have a corrupt regime. He tried to kill us all. In Europe and in outside, they think that we are from Al-Qaeda or from like this, but we are from here. This is our land.
The fighters told us that their brigade numbers over 300 men, and they now control 18 villages in the area. The dream is to create a safe zone here similar to Libya's Benghazi, but without air support or sophisticated weaponry from abroad. They feel there's only so much they can achieve.
Really, we think that our little weapons, we cannot fight this government because have a lot of heavy weapons. These weapons, we sell it from corrupted persons from the army. They sell it in $4,000, $3,000. Every day we think we hear about Europe. They are taking about the human rights, but we want them to care about us here now.
Many of the fighters' relatives have had to flee to refugee camps in Turkey to escape reprisals. In early April, while the ceasefire was still being negotiated, government forces using tanks and helicopters burned hundreds of homes and killed at least 95 civilians across northern Idlib. A recent Human Rights Watch investigation here concluded that it was as if the government wanted to use every last minute before the ceasefire deadline to cause harm. This man said he found the burned body of an army defector in the ashes of his father's living room.
حاليا عم نستنى لنظبط البيت هذا اذا بده يرجع الجيش كمان يحرقوا امنع فلذلك تركينه على وضعه. هلا نحن السوار في الجبال كلياتنا عم نبرق ما عم نبرقهم في الضيعه.
That night in a village on the Turkish border, young men continued to show their defiance. Off-camera, people told us they were terrified the government could come back at any time, and that undercover informants were still operating in their community. As this intractable crisis grinds on into its 14th month, It seems all the opposition here has left is the will to resist.